Hey there, everybody. This is Daniel from the Cybersecurity Club, club secretary. I just wanted to drop in fast, and this is the upload from our meeting, our last workshop, part one of the two-part workshop regarding enumeration and exploitation. Um, and there are a few prereq things that need to be taken care of. They're specified in an email, and we did do them at the beginning of the lecture. However much, because of issues that came up during the class, and I'm taking 45 minutes, and I don't want to make you have to sit through that. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you guys through it here real fast, record it after the fact, and then I will play the rest of the meeting as it happened after we get the system configured, just because configuration can be a bit finicky. So this right here should be your VirtualBox software that we've been using up to this point. You can see I have my Kali on here, and these two you don't need to worry about. We just have the Kali 2020. What we want to do is we want to go to this URL, and this would be in the video description. This is a upload from a friend of mine, but essentially what this is that this is Crypto Level 1. And you can also find this box by Googling Kiptrix Level 1. I abbreviate it as Crypto, even though that's obviously not how it's spelled. It's just kind of a bad habit I've picked up. Kioptrix is how you're supposed to say it. I call it Crypto because I'm cool. So we want to download this. And so all you do is you go to the link, you hit free download, and it's going to start downloading. This isn't a massive file. It's kind of chunky-ish, but it's 300 megabytes roughly, 250. And so you just pull this up, hit save file. Now I already have it downloaded, so I'm going to not do that. But once you have it downloaded, you can go up here and get it that way if you're using Firefox, or just find it wherever you downloaded it. One thing I do want to stress is that if you have not set up a directory to put your virtual machines, especially for our workshops, you're going to want to get one. This is all part. I personally started doing a, what do I want to call it? I did an e-library. And so I have my files in there from my classes. I have everything in there, including my virtual machine library. And that is extraordinarily useful. Now, anyone can structure it how they want to, crypt it if you want to, do whatever you want to do. But I suggest making some sort of decent, consistent structure when it comes to operating with virtual machines, especially in the environment that we're in. So you have it downloaded. Next thing we got to do is, it's just like when we installed Kali 2020 during the first meeting. We got to import that into VirtualBox. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go up to Tools when you have your VirtualBox open. You're going to go to Import from our local file system, and we're going to navigate to that directory. And then I just do the word Dwalt at the end of it. This is somebody I know. And he's been kind enough to put up this pre-configured OVA for us. And so we're going to grab that, hit Next, and then we're leaving everything the same here. All right, everything here inside of this file that's been uploaded has been configured for you. I will jump back real fast, and I will point out if you are doing this after the point that this file has expired. I'll show you what changes you need to make when you configure this yourself. But you're going to go ahead, hit import. And once again, you want to make sure you have NAT only, network adapter, all that jazz. This is important. Why is this important? We are going to structure off the network that our Kali box and our victim machine here are on. This is for security purposes. You want to maintain scope, and I explained scope during the lecture, but essentially what it is that you want to make sure that you're only attacking what you intend to attack, and that you're not affecting other machines on the network. It isn't as, nice when you're trying to attack, this virtual machine that you have, and you accidentally end up pwning your refrigerator. Whoops, that wasn't supposed to happen. So we do stuff like this to maintain scope, especially for our intents and purposes. So we have that in. Next thing we gotta do is we have to set up our NAT. So you're gonna go ahead into settings, or I'm sorry, you're gonna go to Tools, Preferences, Network, and then we're going to hit the little green button here. with the little plus on it. Hit that, and you see a new network's going to appear. Now, I already have a few, so I'm going to just, I'll name it something just for now. You don't need to really worry about these settings. These are all okay. We're just going to name this network something we want by hitting that edit button. So I'm going to go ahead and call it test network 3. Hit OK. Hit OK. And now what we got to do is you got to make sure that our Keyoptrix is on the same network as our Kali machine. Otherwise, the two boxes will not be able to talk to each other. So we're going to go to Keyoptrix, hit the settings, and I do believe this is the only thing you're going to have to do if you are pulling this off of the OVA, is you go into network, attached to a net network, and then you're going to set this to test network 3. Hit OK. And then you're going to go to Kali, settings, and you're going to do the same thing. Network, not network, test network 3. Hit OK. And now what this has done is that it has linked these two together in a logical network. It's like running, because remember when we have a virtual machine, it's like having a set piece of hardware specifically, but instead of actually having the hardware, it's being emulated inside your computer. We are emulating plugging the two into the same network. That's all it is. It's like putting a router between them and running 2 Ethernet cords. And so if you are watching this after and you had to download the OVA, you had to download the file off of, something that is not this download link here, off this U file. Just a few things you're going to have to keep in mind when installing this. I have 512 megabytes on here. Process acceleration, don't really need to worry about that. Video memory, don't need to worry about that. Storage, don't need to worry about that. The big things are, first of all, making sure you get this NAT network. And then you also want to go down to USB, and you want to either disable this controller altogether or have it set to a low version, 1.1. Not having this will actually cause the box to wig out, and it'll fail to boot. And I can demonstrate what that looks like here in a second. And then everything else should be good. The other thing is when you're inside your network-enabled network adapter, go underneath Advanced. You got to make sure you're on a PCNet 302, PCI 302. The reason for this is because this box is running an extraordinarily old operating system, and these are emulating the internet card, the Ethernet card that is using to connect to the network that we're plugging it into, the emulated network. If that card is too new, the operating system is incompatible. So the card's incompatible with the operating system, and the difference is so extreme that the operating system actually won't even boot. It'll hang. So once you have all that set up, you can go ahead and you can launch Keyoptrix. And we've got one more thing that we want to test here fast. And I think I cover this in the lecture as well. I don't know if it's going to make it or not, so I'm just going to show this off fast. So you go ahead and you boot, and it should look like this. You want to partition check. All right, when you see the welcome to Red Hat, these OKs, that means that you're golden. Everything is configured properly. You're just going to go ahead, let it run, don't hit anything, and eventually it's going to bring you up to a login screen here. Keyoptrix. Now we're going to cheat just a little bit. And what we're going to do is we are going to type in, I'm going to give you the login into this front window here. Now you don't need to be logged in when you're actually hacking this thing. When we're doing any of the labs, you do not need to be logged into this box. This is just for us to grab one piece of information, which is the IP address. We need to know the address of what we're attacking, and this just makes it so we can confirm that we're attacking the right thing. Once again, we don't want to be hacking into our smart fridge or a fancy toaster. So you're going to go ahead, and the username is John, and the password is 2 cows and the number 2. So once again, I'll type that out. It's John and then 2 cows 2, and that T is capital, the C is capital, and then it's the number 2 at the end. All right, and then once you get in, you're going to go ahead and you're going to type in. So this machine is actually so old, it doesn't even get some of the basic commands like ifconfig. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to ping a server we know, 888, and then you can just stop it straight away. And what we're interested in is right here, the from 10 to 10. So in your documentation, when we get our Kali machine booted up, you want to write this IP address down. And I will stress this again inside the lecture. You want to have this written down inside your parent node for this box in our assessment. All right, that should be everything. If you have any problems, feel free to send me an email, and I will I will be able to get back to you and help you work out any kinks, problems, whatever's going on. But yeah, back to the original recording.
So this is Crypto. Crypto is a very simple, very lightweight, easy first box. And this is what we're going to be doing all of our testing on. So the very first thing that we want to do is we want to make sure that this box is, functioning how we need it to, and we need to obtain an IP address for it so we can make sure we're staying in scope. And when I say we're staying in scope, it is part of our duty as penetration testers that when we are testing somebody with something, either a client, whatever, that we maintain scope. And a scope is actually what we are allowed and what we are not allowed to attack. So if we start trying to, run our tools and learn this stuff, and it turns out we're attacking grandma's smart fridge, we are outside of scope. All right, and that's actually unethical for us to be doing that. So we need to make sure that we're staying inside the correct parameters. So for this specific one, we're going to cheat just a little bit to make sure we're good. And I'm going to give you a login for the box. So what it is that the username is John, and then I'm going to type it out, but you'll hit enter, and then the password is 2 cows, and then the number 2. Just like that. So your username is John, hit enter, and then that's the password, 2 cows 2. And then you should log in like this. Once you're logged in, all that we want to do is you want to check the IP address that our box has given it. So we're going to go ahead and type in ping, and we'll just ping a Google server fast. So we'll do 8.8.8.8, hit enter. And you can hit Control C, kill that, and we see our IP address right here for the box is 10.0.2.10. For me, that's what it was assigned. For you guys, it might be different. In the meantime, keep this up. We're going to pull up our Kali Linux, and if you're like me and not logged in yet, you want to log in.
Wait, how did you stop it again?
How did I stop it? What do you mean?
Or, sorry, pinging.
Oh, Control and C is the command for interrupt, or the shortcut. And all that does is, and it works in Windows and, it's both Windows and Linux. Command C just tells the command prompt, stop whatever you're doing. Don't care what it is, terminate. All right, so now we're logged in, sweet. So very first thing we want to do is we want to prepare for our assessment. So we want to make sure that we have this structured and that we're documenting everything properly. Most of the time when you're inside the field working in a real job, you're going to be doing multiple assessments over multiple days. And there are so many numbers and so many things you're going to need to keep track of. Good note-taking documentation is super important. Also, if you talk to people who work in the industry, one of the things they hate the most is the guy they contract to come in and penetration test something inside their systems, and all they do is break your system, laugh because they were able to do it, and then not help any. You want to be sure that as a professional pen tester, you're actually helping the client, because it's not just our job to break their stuff and walk out, it's also our job to help them fix it later on. And so that means we need to keep good documentation on how we broke things so we can help them fix it in the future. So as we talked about last time, we're going to be using Cherry Note as our documentation, or Cherry Note, Cherry Tree, Cherry Note. I have it apparently both for some reason. But first thing we're going to do, and you can see my notes here, we're going to start with a fresh note. And so what we're going to do is we're going to right click over here. We're going to add a node, and we're going to call it assessment. And we're just going to call it 1 and then crypto, because that's the box we're attacking. And so I already have one, so I'm going to call it assessment 1. There we go. I have to rename mine because I already have one. Did that drop somewhere else?
Oh, you put it inside.
Yeah, it does that. All right, and then very next thing we're going to do is inside of this node, we're going to add 3 subnodes, and this is how we're going to sort everything. There are 3 different parts to our assessment here. The first part is going to be our enumeration. And so we're going to add a subnode called enumeration. Hit OK. Got a little blue cherry there. Go back, click your top one again. We're going to add a second subnode, and this subnode is going to be our, you call it your evaluation. And every time we have a finding, this is the notes that we're keeping that we're going to eventually turn into the person who's hired us. So this is going to have everything we need. And so for when we write that final report. And so that's going to be stuff like, so findings are stuff like anything from they had an information leak, so I was able to get the model of a server or the version number of a server and what it's running, to I was able to backdoor into the system because they had something installed that shouldn't have been on there. Both of those are findings. They'll both end up in our evaluation tab. And then finally, we're going to add a exploitation tab. And this is where everything that we do exploitation-wise is going to be added. Now, this is just the way that we're going to document things for this first box. Going forward, you guys are welcome to document things however you want, but the big important thing is to write stuff down. And as soon as we start running scans here, you're going to understand exactly why. So now we have that. We have one other thing we want to get done. We want to go ahead and open up a terminal. And we have a small command here. We're going to pull from a GitHub directory. It has a small program inside of it called Pimp My Cali. And essentially what it is that it's a series of bug fixes and a series of, it has an extra few bits of software that we're going to use. So first thing we want to do is inside your terminal. I also put the link inside of the chat. We're going to type in git clone https. Here, I'll make this bigger for you. github.com/dwalt-arc/pimp my Cali. And so I already have it downloaded, which is why I threw an error here, but it should just run clean and you'll have it there. Now, if you type in ls, you're going to see that Pimp My Cali folder right there. Everyone see it? Sick. Okay, next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna navigate to that folder. So cd Pimp My Cali. And now we just have to run the file that's inside of it. So to run a file inside of Linux, the first thing you have to do is you have to give it permission to actually run the file. So we're going to sudo, and then you're going to do a // and this is saying we're executing the file, and then the file name. So pimpmycali.sh is the name of the file that's in there. Hit enter, and you get a nice little menu like this, because hackers love their ASCII art. And we're just going to hit option 0. So go ahead and hit 0, and it's going to go ahead and it's going to do its thing. And so what is this doing? There's a series of different bugs and issues inside of Kali Linux. A few of them from the code and bash that throttle it where it really doesn't need to. This is also adding a few extra tools in there. One of those tools being this flame shot up here, which I'll explain in a second. On this screen, when it says to read carefully, we're just going to hit no, hit N, and then we're good to go. Did anybody error, blow up? Going once, going twice.
Is anyone having Michael, I saw you said RE. Is that ye for yes or?
Ye for good.
Yeah, also, Dan, do you need to log into the Keyoptric box again? Do you need to log into that box to do this, or just have it running in the background?
No, just leave it running in the background. It doesn't matter if you're logged in or not. We're breaking in. So that login is just for us to grab that IP address.
Could you tell me what to do right after we get cloned?
Yeah,
And
you're going to do sudo, the dot, or you have to navigate to /pimpmycali first. Make sure you're in /pimpmycali if you're not inside that folder.
all right, I'm in there.
Okay, so yeah, you're going to cd /p. Oh, now I need to get in there. And then you're going to do sudo dot slash, because we're executing a file. And then we're going to do that shell, which is pimpmycali.sh.
Man,
And
who'd
so-
have thought DeWalt, they make good power tools and Linux Linux packages. Who'd have thought?
Yeah, who knew that every time you use your drill, you're actually just walking around with a Panagachi.
Okay.
You got it?
Yes, got it.
Sick. Okay, awesome.
Is
So-
anyone else running into issues that I can potentially try to help them with right now while everyone else is walking through stuff?
No, mine's just really slow. It's still running. But otherwise, it's fine.
Okay. Sick. So that means we can actually start enumerating. So the very first thing we want to do is, so we cheated a little bit and we found our IP address by logging in there.
Oh wait, real quick.
Yes.
You went through the step to get them to the sudo stage, but didn't tell them what to install out of that stage.
Oh, you're going to hit 0 inside that installer. You were fixing everything.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Thank you for catching that. I didn't hear that. My bad. Yeah, please just yell at me loudly because I don't notice sometimes. So now we're here. Now we can finally start playing. People who are installing should be real fast. If when you get to the red screen, or when you get to the screen of red text saying something about root, just hit N. Breeze past that. We're not going to be using the root login. So now, time to start enumerating. So our first objective is, when we're starting in a fresh environment, is we want to figure out what our environment actually is. Just like anybody else, penetration testers, they open their day with an empty terminal just like this. So the first thing we want to do, we're inside of our network, we want to try to see what's around us. We want to look around, get a feel for the environment. The first way we can do this, and which has been the always existent way to do this, has been an ARP scan. So I'm going to have us run a command fast, and then I'm going to explain what exactly we're doing. So we're going to go ahead and going to write ARP-scan, and then we're going to give it a -L flag. And all that's doing is to execute the command. We're going to hit enter. And oh, yeah, we got this stuff popping up. Okay, so what just happened? So inside of computer networking, there is a type of protocol called ARP. And essentially what an ARP is that it's a call to the network trying to figure out, it's a broadcast, which means everybody sees it. And it's asking who exists, who's out there, what's inside my environment. This is how things like auto discovery work with printers and stuff like that. When you connect them to your network and they just kind of show up, that's because of broadcasting channels like this. So what we have here is we have a list of things that are inside of our network. And so 10.1, 10.2, and 10.3, everyone's is going to be different. This is my specific environment. Right here is our IP address from earlier, our 10.10. And so now we have we know what our target machine is that 10.10. So what's the first thing we're going to do? We want to document this. So open up Cherry Tree again, and just keep it open in the background on a separate tab, because we're going to be opening this up a lot. We got to document.
Right, real quick.
Yeah.
For me, it says that the ARP scan is not found, like the command's not found.
Did anyone else get that? All right, double check the syntax. ARP-scan, no space.
Yep.
And then a space, and then a -L.
Yeah, that's what I have.
Isn't going through?
Yeah, it's just saying command not found.
Okay. Well, this is more just a sub stop anyway. This isn't the main way we're going to do things. I'm just showing
Sure.
what an ARP is.
Nmap is what real men use.
Yeah, we're moving our way up to Nmap. But before we go to Nmap, we're going to take a short stop into another tool called Netdiscover. So Netdiscover is a iteration of ARP scan. First of all, let me open up this cherry note again. And what we want to do for our assessment is we want to click on this red tab that we have, and we're just going to jot down that IP address of our victim machine. So we're going to say IP address, and we're going to write down that, for me, it's the 10.0.2.10. For you, put down whatever the IP address is that we're operating off of. That is our victim machine, because this is the machine we are assessing. After that, we're going to kind of kick it up a little bit. So this is just telling us that there, things exist. Well, we want to get a little bit, more nitty gritty. So there's a tool called Netdiscover. So Netdiscover is an iteration of ARP scan, except it takes it a step further. So we're going to do -R, and then we're going to do our IP address. And then this is actually going to be a range. And so when we define a range, what we're doing is that we're saying we know something might exist between two IP addresses. We just want to check everything between. And so for me, I'm going to do the 10.0.2.0 to 24. Now this can change on your subnet depending. This is not a networking course. I'm not going to teach you subnetting. I think subnetting is very hard, and I do not dare to teach it because I would probably get it wrong. But just take my word for it, and we want to do that scan. And it is saying it's finished and didn't see anything. What?
The idea of subnetting is not very difficult. It's the calculating subnets on the fly in your head that's a pain in the ass.
Do I have the subnet wrong on this? Do you remember the do you know subnetting, right, Chase? Is my subnet wrong?
It'd be 10.0.2.0 /24. So that'll give you 10.0.2.1 through 10.0.2. I think it's 254. I think 255 is reserved.
It is. I do remember that 255 is reserved.
So it'll scan everything through there. But the .1 is usually your router anyway. So
I'm just trying to figure out why it's not actually. Why isn't it picking this up?
Are you sure it's 10.0.2, not 10.0.1?
This is the same as mine, and mine worked.
Yeah, 10.0.2.10 is the IP address. Yours worked?
Yeah, I have
yeah,
the
you're right
same
there.
configuration as you, and I ran that same command, and it worked. So.
Jeez, I don't know why it's freaking out on me like that. If it's running for you, then you're seeing what you're supposed to. And so what this is, that this is giving us more information, and you can see it on your end. Is anybody else not getting data, or is everybody else getting results on this? Everyone,
a nice little thumbs up.
Thumbs up for if you're getting stuff. Are you getting stuff?
You can give reactions.
I'm trying to run the ARP scan. What was the code for? Was that ARP scan -L?
ARP-scan, one word, space -L.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's still not working for some reason.
It's still not working. Okay, it's fine. We can just, like I said, we can just blow by that. So essentially what this is, I wanted to show this as a mid-stop. This isn't necessarily the tool we're going to be using either. We're going to be using a tool now called Nmap that Chase mentioned earlier. But I wanted to show the difference between the two. So what this is doing is this is an advanced version of the ARP scan we just previously did. This is trying to get us more information. We're trying to get vendor names and host names off of the addresses. But the problem is that even the, oh wait, there, what the heck?
It's just slow, I guess.
I don't know. Somebody, I don't know. I'm not even going to bother it.
Crash PC.
Regardless, I'm not going to get hung up on it. This is roughly the same thing. It's putting it out slightly nicer, and it's trying to find the length, and it's trying to give us more information about it. The third iteration of this, and the one that we're going to be using regularly, is called Nmap. So Nmap stands for Network Mapper. And what it is, well, first thing we do is we're going to get started again, and then while it's running, we're going to chat. So we're going to type in Nmap. Oh, I'm going to select the right window. We're going to type in Nmap. -T4 for capital T. -A, and then we're going to put in our specific address, which is at 10.0.2.10. This is our victim machine. Go ahead and hit enter, and it's going to start running. So what is Nmap? Nmap is the functionality behind Netdiscover, the functionality behind ARP, which is using the functionality of ARPScan. And we have crammed it together with a bunch of different tools. And so what this is doing is that this is not just looking for existing hosts that are out there. In this specific one, we're looking at the specific host, 10.0.2.10. We're looking for windows. We're scanning ports. We're scanning for services. What do I mean by that? So every time you have a server that is running a set of programs, they're running them on a port. A port is an identifier that is assigned to that specific outlet, we'll call it. And it's how that outlet does business on the internet. It's receiving traffic and sending traffic. As pen testers and as hackers, we're trying to find services that are running off of these little ports and find ways to leverage them to allow unauthorized access, we'll call it. These services have to be running at a certain permissions level. And a lot of the times when you have an exploit that executes properly, you're running your exploits, what you're coming into, once your exploit successfully runs, is going to be running at the same caliber, the same usage permissions as that software was. And typically you have to move your way up from there. So we're doing the very basic, very first step, which is trying to figure out what processes our victim machine is running. What is it doing? What is it trying to service, do, whatever? So this is going to take a little bit. The flags on here specifically, the Nmap, of course, is calling Nmap. The T4, that's our speed. We're telling it how fast we want it to run. It can go anywhere from 0 to 5. The -A is telling it that we're looking for services. So we want it to try to not just figure out if a port is open, but tell us what's on it. What version is it running? And then, of course, the IP address of what we're looking at here. So how exactly does this work? I'm going to open up a new tab here just to show something, but this is still running in the background. The way this works is quite simple. When you connect to a computer, there's a certain type of exchange that goes on. SYN, SYNAC, and ACK. It looks intimidating, it's not. SYN means hello, are you open? Because you're connecting to a specific service. So let's say I'm trying to connect to port 80, whatever. I'm going to go to port 80 and I'm going to say, hello, how are you? Are you open? It is going to respond back saying, hello, yes, I'm open. And then I'm going to acknowledge back saying, okay, let's make a connection. Easy peasy. Okay. What Nmap is doing is that it's using this to try to look for openings. And so it used to have a system, or it used to have a service called Stealth Scan. And now it's actually it is activated by default. You don't even need to type it in anymore. This is actually technically running a stealth scan. Mine finished here. I'm just going to go back up here. There's nothing up there, but this is technically running a stealth scan. It's not actually stealthy anymore. Back in the day, what it used to do is that it would do the SYN, which is hello, SYNAC, which is yes, I'm open, and then we're going to send it a reset flag. And this is what it's doing right now to your victim box, is it's sending a reset flag, and it's saying reset the connection. Back in the day, this used to be stealthy. Nowadays, this is very not stealthy. The technology has improved. They have learned to see through this. But back in the day, this used to be a way that you could scan these, you could go to these ports and you could check, you could see what's running on it with that SYNAC, and then you could just say, okay, see ya, yeet, and then go and be gone. So that's what it's doing right now. So if we go back here, it looks like our scan is finished. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at the results here. Now, there's a lot. And this is kind of where, if you see the movies and stuff like that, the hackers have text that's flying up their screen all the time. They got the little matrix glasses on, even though it's dark inside and all that crap. There's a lot of text in pen testing, because a lot of it, when you run something like this, you want all the information you can get, because every single little detail can be an opening for you. So let's go through and see what this put out. So 994 ports were closed. Also, I should mention, this scanned the top 1,000, it's called. And so the top 1,000 most commonly used ports for services, it checked each one of them for us and looked for services, vulnerabilities. So 994 of them, just nothing was going on, or at least as far as it can tell. Port but we have some open ports here. And so we have port 22, and we can see that's running a TCP connection, SSH specifically, and we have the version of what it's running as well. We have port 80, which is running in TCP. Port 80, if you remember from your networking classes, this is your internet connection. So this is a website, more than likely. This is HTTP. And we even have a server or a version here. We have it's running Apache, and we think we know the version it's running too. We can go down. 111 and 139. 111 is RCP bind. 139, this is Samba. Samba is SMB. And we're going to go about enumerating this as well. So what is SMB? SMB is essentially a file share server. If you scan a document in a printer and then you can access it from another computer, that used to use an SMB connection. It's easy as, in a real basic oversimplified terms. And then 443 is HTTPS, which you can see here. And down here, it looks like that's everything we got. So this is a lot of information. If any of you guys have the ability to memorize all these ports, know they're open, and know what version number they're running, let me know, because the FBI wants you, because you are superhuman. We need to document this. So how are we going to document this? We're going to copy it all. Right click, copy selection. And we're going to our cherry notes. Go to enumeration, add a subnode. This is our Nmap scan. Just dump it in. Next time we need to access this, this data, it's right there for us. It's going to keep it in the same format and everything. So it's nice and easy for us to read and look back onto later. When we talk a lot about documentation, this really is what it is. It's copying the outputs from our scripts, from our files, from our exploits, and slapping them into a place where we can access them later for further, scrutinization, refreshing ourselves on what we were doing, so on and so forth.
Just a side note on if, for example, you are more blue team and you're looking at this type of stuff, running your services on a really high obscure port and leaving them insecure is not security by obscurity, that's negligence. So don't run like an FTP server on port 33,857. That's not secure. Lock it down. You'd be surprised about the amount of stuff in enterprise networks that's done like that, where, oh, well, this is unusual, so it's secure because no one would expect it. But people can use more than the most popular 1,000 ports for stuff. So if someone's actually trying to get into something, they will scan more than those for those most common 1,000. So just like a little thing, like the term security by obscurity is used, and in some instances it works well. Running services on ports is not an instance where it works well. So just a little tangent. Sorry, Dan.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. Yeah, security by obscurity is like what he said, which is try to hide your service. So typically internet's done in 80. Well, we're going to do security by obscurity. We're going to use port 8,226. Who's going to try to connect to HTTP at port 8,226? Not many people, but they're still going to scan it. If I ran this Nmap scan and I changed the parameters on here, I could check every single port on this machine rather than just the top 100. I can specify it to nuke everything, and that port will show up there. So it's very vulnerable. Like he said, it's totally negligent. And so we're looking for backdoors like that. And a lot of hack the boxes, capture the flag competitions like to hide things like that, where they have a port obscured somewhere and you ended up having to sit there and do the extra long Nmap so you could find it. So that being said, we have this documented now. We have our Nmap, and we have a few openings here. We have a few ports that we can start looking at. We're going to go for some low-hanging fruit here. So TCP, port 22, SSH, does not have a very long history of being insecure, right? The SSH has been very secure for a very long time. Typically, having an exploit in SSH is very unlikely, especially something that gives you RCE, remote code execution, that you're almost never going to see that. So we're going to kind of skip past SSH right now. 80 websites. These are low-hanging fruit. People mess up websites all the time. They put plugins on their websites that have exploits on them. They forget to update their Apache server, which is the Apache. That's the framework. That's the engine that runs the website. The same with HTTPS. HTTPS, the S stands for secure, doesn't mean it is. It can still have easily exploitable plugins, framework built in there that totally doesn't matter if it's S or not.
That S in secure just means the packets being sent between the two services, like your host and say twitter.com. The actual contents of the packets are getting encrypted. So on either side of that, you'll see like the encrypted packet, and then you'll see like a hash for the packet itself, so that they can double check. Most of the time, HTTPS is going to be it's going to be TCP, not UDP, depending on the service. But I mean, I think YouTube might be secure, so I might take that back. But basically, that just means like the traffic being sent from your machine to that server is going to be encrypted, but that does not mean that the service running on that port is secure necessarily.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we have our Nmap done here. So Nmap actually does have a estranged cousin, I guess we can call it, called Nikto. So what is Nikto? So if Nmap is a scalpel, Nikto is a rocket launcher. Nikto is a Nmap integrated tool that is designed to specifically for exploit finding. And so we're going to go ahead and we're going to run a Nikto scan as well. And so to do that, we're going to write an nikto-h, and then we're going to put in our address, http://10.0.2.10. Hit enter, and it's going to start chugging away. So what is this doing? Nikto is an Nmap scan that is tied to an exploitation database. And so not only is it trying to find the versions of software, it's trying to see if those versions of software are marked with any known vulnerabilities. This is extraordinarily useful and extraordinarily, it makes our job easier because we don't have to sit here and manually look up every single version number to see if there's an exploit for it. This is actually going to go out and it's going to automatically search for some of them itself. What's the downside to this? Nikto is just as subtle as a rocket launcher. If you ran a Nikto scan on like 80 to 90% of websites out there, they're going to blacklist you. It's easily detectable. It's like driving your car through a wall. It will get you blacklisted off a website. So do not try to, and this should go without saying, do not try to Nikto random websites off the internet. Do not try to Nmap random websites off the internet. Bad people, or not bad people, the good guys, but for you they'll be bad. People will show up to your house and ask you what the hell you're doing. Okay? And so this is kind of the base of all this stuff, is that we're teaching you how to be penetration testers. You use this stuff for bad, and you're as good as I am, good luck. They're going to find the crap out of you, and they're going to block you away and make you feel bad about it. So disclaimer out of the way. So what's our Nikto come up with? Well, we have our IP, the port we're looking at. This looks specifically at, we're specifically looking at 80, which is the HTTP port. And we're looking at the servers that are running on that. You open SSL, okay. So we have a web or a confirmed number or version on the Apache server now. So we know the server is running Apache, the framework that's running the website, 1.3.20. In OpenSSL, server may leak inodes. Found. We know it might be open to XSSX, XSS, cross scripting. OpenSSL may be outdated. Yeah, of course it is. There's literally a 0 in the version of it. Of course that's outdated. It looks like we have a lot of stuff here. So once again, just like before, we're going to document this. Grab all this. Oh, I went a little bit too far. Copy selection. Go to your cherry note. We're gonna add a new subnode. This is our Nictoscan. Paste that in. And so we are seeing here that we have quite a few different vulnerabilities, a few different routes that we can take a look at here. This OpenSSL keeps showing up. We're going to remember this for later. But right now, if we were writing an evaluation for this, we would be marking all of this down. We would be writing down, okay, we were able to get a version of the Apache server. We were able to figure out what this backend is running. These are actually low-key findings because we can use this information for enumeration going on or going forward. And now that I know its version number, can I find an exploit for it? The key to defensive or to setting your network defensively is don't even let me figure that stuff out in the first place if I don't have to. Server names are possible leaks, stuff like that. You're trying to keep the guy who's trying to get in as much of the dark as you possibly can. So we have our Nictos stuff. Next thing we want to do, and this is good for all boxes, is let's go ahead and see if we can actually, let's see what the website is that's on here. We keep scanning it, might as well take a look at it. So inside your internet browser, go and open up Firefox. And we're just gonna go to the 10.0.2.10 and see what happens. And so this is connecting to port 80. And this right here is a test page. This also is a finding. And so what we would do is go in here, we go to our evaluation, and we'd say finding. Put in a date, 9/29/2020. Test page is public on server 10.0.2.10. And we're going to take a look and see what we can get out of this. This speaks volumes about the type of server maintenance that's going on. If you're accessing systems and they just straight up have a test page still up, what else have they forgotten to turn off? This is showing obvious lack of care for hygiene on your back end. And so this tells me that, okay, what other frameworks are they running? And do those frameworks have default credentials? Because if they were too lazy to take down the frickin' test page, were they too lazy to remove the root credentials on, say, the routers or whatever? So we're going to mark that down as a finding inside of our evaluation here. Okay. So we have this. I'm not convinced this is everything. And if you hear me saying that, that probably means that I haven't told you everything, because I haven't. Just because we're able to see a few things on the website, that actually isn't everything this web server is offering. It has many services. So we're going to pull out another tool. We're moving into HTTP enumeration. So HTTPS, this is website enumeration. So we finished port enumeration, right? We've looked at a bunch of the ports. We've got version numbers for services that might be going on there. We're going to try to find something else. We're looking at website exploits. Are they running plugins that we can take advantage of? The first thing we're going to do is we want to figure out the structure of the website we're attacking. So we're going to use a tool called dirbuster. So if you type dirbuster into console, this little UI is going to come up. And what we're going to do is we're going to look for any hidden directories that this website might have that either they want us to find or that they forgot were up or whatever that might be. This is a brute force methodology. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to keep slapping random stuff in the wind and see what comes out. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to connect to the website, http://
Don't
and
dirbuster a public site, please.
yeah, once again, that should be the rule for everything. Do not dirbuster.
This will get you caught real quick if you dirbuster like any insert website here. You'll get hit.
Exactly. It's
by the way, just letting you know.
Like that should just be the disclaimer for everything. I should just have a PDF or a PNG up here that says please don't, as in don't do this anywhere unless you have explicit permission. And then we're going to specify that port 80 because we're looking at the HTTP targets. We're going to go ahead and we're going to bump this up or just hit go faster. We're going to give it 200 threads. All that threads are, you're going to see this a lot in security tools. This is just describing how fast you want it to go. More threads means it's going to run faster, but sometimes it also misses stuff. Nmap can go up to T5. We used T4. It actually misses stuff at T5. I haven't had it miss anything at T4. And that's what's been recommended to me to use.
The
good.
speed can also be. Oh, sorry if I interrupted you, Dan.
No, good.
You
You're
know,
good. Go
video calls and all. Speed can also be linked at like when, like for example, inside of security. The hardest, like if your hackers are making, like traffic on your network, like regular traffic on your network is not gonna be seen or looked at as suspicious. Just because there's so much of it, it's impossible to see. Things that make noise on a network, multiple failed logins on a single machines, website pages like this that are getting hit. A lot of these like admin pages or backend pages probably have rules set up that they can only be accessed through a specific range of IPs, which are usually going to be either like IPs from a VPN they set up or IPs that are going to be on their corporate network. So the second that you hit that page as someone who's not on an authorized network, blacklisted from that website. And so going at smaller threads for some of these things, because like 2 or 3 failed logins for an account in an hour is not unheard of. 50 failed logins is usually something that you're going to get an alert from, and then the security team is going to go in and look into that and see where those alerts are coming from. So bumping the speed down on some of these tools, when you're working in an environment like this, bump it up to the point where you're not getting anything missed. But if you are pen testing in the real world, things like the speed in which you are doing and using certain tools can affect how that works, because sometimes these pen tests are used to test the security team. Like whenever my company gets pen tested, whenever we see stuff that we know is pen tested, like we get a range of IP addresses that were like, pen testers are coming from these IP addresses. So when you see something come from that IP address, don't stop it because they're not hitting production stuff. Don't stop it, but document what you saw and what your next steps would have been. And so sometimes too fast is bad. Just as a trying to poke little blue team stuff in there for you guys. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not a red team. I'm a blue team guy, not a red team. So
that's a really good point. I was actually just about to make that point. You're talking right out of my mouth.
Sorry for cutting you off. I was
you're
like,
good.
oh, I got a fun little topic.
That was good. Please keep cutting me off. I like it. I love learning the blue side of this because I only am studying the red side. But yeah, no, that's one of the things is as a red teamer, if you're doing a test on a network, like he said, I might ask, when it comes, the test is done, I might go to the security team and ask them, I said, hey, I was running 200, 400 threads at a time. Did you guys notice anything? And if they didn't, that's an issue. Because for the exact reason he said, there are certain requests that should be being picked up by network administrators. And if they aren't, the network administrators just aren't doing their job. It's their job to find that stuff out. Okay. I know people are starting to filter out. I'm going to try to get you out of here by 7. All right. I don't want to take that much longer. So I had more stuff we're going to go over. I'll just pack it in next time. And next time we'll finish up enumeration and then do exploitation. We'll exploit this machine. We'll get our first shell. Things took a little bit longer this time because of the crypto issues at the beginning. We said you had to re-download the thing, and I apologize for that. If it means anything, my original goal was to hit 6:30. So we saw how that happened. Anyway, Durbuster. So we're going to run this team. We're going to run this program. So I'm going to run at 200 threads. That's a decent speed. And what we need is a word list. So if you've done brute force or you've heard of brute force security before, what it is that I am just taking a large bucket of possibilities and I am slamming it down your server's throat as hard and as fast as I can and trying to see if something does or does not exist. This happens in passwords. So people try to spray passwords at a database to see if one of them works for a given username. There's all different ways to do this. For this specific use, we're going to be using a word list to try to see if there are other URLs that exist on this website that we don't know about, that we aren't able to see yet. So we're going to go ahead and we'll hit browse inside of our word list thing here. And we're going to go up a directory. And we're going to go to user, share. And we're going to scroll over. There's a folder called word lists. hit W. Should help you find your way over. Right there it is, word lists. Go in there. Deerbuster has its own folder. And 2.3 medium is a pretty common one to run. This is only, I don't know, a few 100,000 directories, so I think it'll be okay for what we're doing. And we're going to go ahead and down here, file extension, we can specify what we're looking for. So right now it's just looking for PHP files that exist on the file server. I'm going to throw an HTML in here as well, just to show you could do it. But you can specify any different type of files you might be looking for. HTML, PHP, Java files, anything that might be up, JavaScript files, I mean, anything that might be up on the website. And then we're going to hit start here. And so if you maximize it and make the scary console go away, you can see that it's starting to take off. Now, we're not actually going to let this finish because this is a chunky boy. That list is a chunky boy. We will be here for a very long time waiting for Chungus to finish scanning everything. And I'll do the work for you guys and say there really isn't. There's stuff to find if we're going to be getting super nitpicky on documentation. I'm just trying to encourage good documentation practices. I'm not going to freaking tell you the full form way to do it and every single thing that should be documented. I'm just trying to express how important it is. But if we go to our results list here, this right here is every single web page that our brute lists file or our brute lists or our brute force attack is finding. And so these are positive hits. These are URLs that exist on the web server, files that are uploaded. You can even go into tree view and you can view the entire website as if it's a file browser. And so in here, they have a CGI bin. Doesn't look like there's anything in there. These codes here, response codes, if you've taken Dr. Wu's networking, they might look familiar. 200 is an OK, meaning that the directory exists and can be accessed. 404 means it doesn't exist, and we aren't seeing 404 because it wouldn't put it up there because it doesn't exist. 403 means access is denied, if I remember correctly. Access denied, yeah, okay, Chase is giving me the nod. Access denied, meaning that we're not allowed to see what's inside of that folder. And if you're a pen tester, you're like, ooh, what don't they want us to see? I want to see it. So those are going to be little notes in the back of our head for us to hang on to. There's a docs folder here that we're not allowed to have access to. I wonder what's in that. You hit the little pluses and you can just kind of browse around. If you double click on one of these or right click, hit open in browser, it'll actually open up the page for you and you can view it. And so this right here is at usage 2209, whatever. Looks like this is the statistics for this website in September 2009. So you see how many people accessed it, the files that was on it. And this as well would be a finding. If somebody's statistics page is open to, to the outside world, that is a massive issue. And should be documented. And so once again, I might take this, to go to our cherry notes. And this isn't something you necessarily have to do, but in my evaluation, I'm going to say I have a finding, the date. Oh, geez. 29/2020, open URL with statistical data, and then have that up. Because they probably didn't want us to see that. And so we're going to mark that up in our evaluation, and then we'll go back to what we're doing. So if we go back to Deerbuster real fast, like I said, there's all sorts of stuff here. You're welcome to, once we're done, go through and do this yourself. Let it, maybe don't even stop it now, just kind of let it go when you go eat dinner after this. And just come back and see what's here and kind of poke around. I've never actually let this go for more than like 15 or 10 minutes or so. So you might find something I don't even know about that's in here. But this is another way of enumeration. And so this is trying to find every single little thing, little piece of the server that might exist to a web client that we can then use to further enumerate, find vulnerabilities for it going forward. All right, and with that, I'm going to stop there. And then next time we are going to take a look at Burp Suite, which is another real fun tour. I was really hoping to get to it today. We can't. It allows you to literally just send whatever you want to a web server and make it like choke over it. We'll be going over SMB enumeration. which we pointed out earlier is like the open file directories. And if we can put something in there and we can get it executed, that's a possible exploitation. We can get console commands through that. All we need is somebody to execute a file that we load up in there if we have access to it. And we're going to look at Metasploit. And we're going to look at possible openings, and we're going to run our first execution, and we're going to get our first shell. And we'll try to do all that next time. Does anybody have any final questions or point something out, or is still stuck at a login screen on a box from 2 hours ago?
My thing froze.
Your box or?
My Deerbuster froze.
Oh, Deerbuster. That's odd. You can't do anything with it at all?
All I see is the cursor, like, if you run your cursor over text, that's what I see. And, like, I can see it, but I can't click anything.
Oh, so you see something like this? Is this what you're seeing?
I can see my console in the Deerbuster window, but how your cursor was when you went over the text, that's where my cursor is no matter where I go, and I can't click anything.
All right. Sounds like it died somehow. Must have had a bad day. Maybe had a bad dream last night.
Yeah, sometimes, unfortunately, sometimes services like that will just poop out.
It can.
Sometimes you just got to restart it.
Yeah, murder's
Kill
the
it
option.
and- yeah, you can do sudo service Deerbuster stop.
Or if you have the console window here, just Control C with the console window up.
Yeah,
That'll
do
also
too.
end it.
Yeah, since it isn't necessarily a service, it's a program you're running in the foreground, so you don't need to do a service restart on it. So
Yeah, so if you just find this page with the inside your terminal and you hit Control C, it will just kill it. And that should take care of that for you. Any questions, comments?
Putting this up on YouTube, right?
Yes, it'll be
Yeah.
up on YouTube.
yeah, it'll be
Okay.
up on YouTube. So I'll send a link out to in the Discord, and then also it'll be on the Cybersecurity Club website. A link on there will be there as well, because Farag makes me keep that updated. So
Finally using the website.
Farag's making me, so woohoo. Yeah, and then we'll keep everyone updated on what the plan is for next time, and time and date on that. So
Yep. I'll try not to save the email for the night before. I do apologize for that. That was not on purpose. I was just really busy and I didn't realize it too. It was a little late. But next time you'll get the email a few days ahead. But now that we have Kipto installed, I don't think you guys will need to do anything for next session. We'll be able to just pick up right from here and launch both machines. So we won't have this 30, 45-minute delay at the beginning of the meeting next time. I appreciate you all coming out. That's it for me. You got anything else you want to say, Chase?
no, should be all good.
Fantastic.
Cool.
Well, thank you all for coming out.
Yeah, see you guys all next time.
Next Tuesday.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
See ya.
See ya. Thanks.
Thanks for coming.
Oh, Dan, real quick.
Yes, sir. Do you want me to end the recording first, or? Is
It
it
doesn't
a-
matter.
okay.
No, it was a question about Linux.
Oh, go for it.
So how do you get, like, I was looking around, but how do you get where you have your own login for Linux? Because I was still using the Kali.
That's fine. Well, hold on. What you want to make your own user account, or?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's do this. I'm gonna do something special for you here.
Okay.
Just because, once again, I'm not a massive fan of user account controls, mostly because of the fact that I don't remember how to do it. And I'd have to point you to the YouTube video. And so if you're watching on YouTube right now, hello, I'm going to show you a little extra something here that was inside of that tool we used earlier.
Okay.
You remember when we hit no on that one
Yes.
option?
Yeah.
That actually allows us to execute to activate the root account. So you'll be able to act directly as administrator from the very beginning.
Okay.
Meaning you don't have to sudo guess the root password, stuff like that. You can actually log in as root, and it'll give you all permissions that you need. And this tool should be able to do it by itself. I actually haven't done it myself. But if you rerun it, and then you can just type 0 again and let it run through. When it gets to that yes or no, we're going to hit yes. And then we're going to give it a password. And you can create that password whatever you want, and then you'll be able to log into it.
Okay. What did I do? What's that? Oh.
And then I'm going to exit out of that just because I am already using a root. I do not want to change my password accidentally and lock myself out. This has all of my notes on it, and I would cry. So I am not going to do that. But you are actually able to just send in your own password there, and you can set it whatever you want to be. I encourage it to be something secure. And then when you can log out and then log in, username root, password that you just set.
Okay.
And then that will log you in as a user account named root that will have all admin privileges. And that way you don't need to worry about, the Kali sudo, try to remember what the password is, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is that what you wanted to do?
I wanted to make a new login for the virtual machine itself. So like when we first made the virtual machine, you logged in as username Kali, password Kali.
Yeah.
But like I feel like that's not a good login password to have.
Oh no, it's not. No.
For anything.
Here, let me.
Or you could just direct me to a YouTube video if you wanted to.
Let me. I actually have it on quick draw here, thankfully. So inside console, sudo su. Make sure you're an admin.
Okay. Hold on, let me pull up a different console.
And for you YouTube folk out there, that root and then set your own password, that is really nice to use, but it is insecure. So keep that in mind. But it isn't like we're trying to exploit things now, are we? We're literally the incarnation of insecure. So user account control is always the way to go if you're trying to be nice. I'm just lazy as hell. That's why I'm root.
Okay. All right, so what do I do after the sudo su?
Okay, so sudo su, you're going to type in the command user add -m and then the username with a space after the m, obviously.
Okay. Is it a space shot after the add as well?
So user add with no space in user add, then the space -m space username.
Okay.
And then type in PASSWD username. Or hold on. Hold on. Let me just do this along with you just to make sure I'm doing it right. Yeah, okay, type in password without the erd, so PASSWD space username, and then set a password.
Is it username or the username that you picked?
The username that you picked.
Okay.
So the user add -m and then the username you wanted it to be.
Okay.
And then password, the username you wanted it to be. Then for the new password, it's going to prompt you for a new password.
Okay.
So once you've done that, you want to type in usermod -a -G sudo, and then that username that you are creating.
Okay. Okay.
And then you're going to type in CHSH space -S space /bin/bash space, and then your new username.
So that was what, CHSH space -S?
It's just dash s, no dot.
No, I'm sorry. I just
Okay, you're stuttering the game. Good. We're on the same page.
okay. A space bin. Space
Slash
bin. Oh, okay.
Slash bin slash bash.
Oh, slash bin slash bash, and then the username.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So it has the options, login. Should I do the new login show for the user account?
Pardon?
So it displayed a options menu. It says usage, CHSH, options, login, and then displays the options. Maybe I typed it in wrong.
No, if it came, typically it's hard to type a command in wrong. So if you know what I mean by that, like
Yeah.
if something comes, unless it breaks, it typically means you typed it in right.
Yeah.
Here, I'm gonna send you a link here. This is what I'm looking at. But I mean, after that last one, you add yourself to a sudoers file. I think you should be good from there. Honestly, I don't think you need to do this last bit, but this is just it's saying to do it. So that's why I was gonna have you do it anyway. I'm trying to find you on Discord. There you are, Franklin. Send message. There you go.
All right.
So yeah, that's just what I'm using. What I was looking at. So that should help you figure it out. But I think you did everything. Hell, like I said, I think you should be able to log in.
Yeah, yeah, it looks like I typed it in right and everything. All right. That should be it then.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks for the help.
Not a problem. If you have any other problems, just let me know.
All right, we'll do.
All right. You have a great rest of your night, man. I'll talk to you later.
All right, I'll see you.